Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another review. This time is of the SHF Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. And I gotta say, if you liked Obi-Wan before and you were questionable about the head sculpt, this one is probably the best one to date. There are minor gripes that aren't really with me, but I guess they would be for others as collectors, so I'm going to touch on that. And let's get started. I want to start by saying this is not your Jesus Obi-Wan. This is more of a dad Obi-Wan, where he kind of has that dad look, but no dad bod. So it works out just fine for him. Let me see if I can get a nice little look on it. But as you can see with the head sculpt, it's actually done really, really well. I think they've captured it pretty much perfectly this time for him, where I don't really see an issue. Mine just happens to be a botched paint job, but I'm not really sweating it. But I think they really nailed his look on this one. And somehow they managed to capture his beard a lot better than they did that of Thor. So, gotta honestly point that one out. I think his beard is much better than Thor's. But anyway, as far as articulation goes, let me just scooch up. I think this one has the same articulation as possible. Might be a little bit different in some areas. So, with the head articulation, we can go up. We can go down. We can tilt left and right. We can rotate for expression. You can go rotate all the way around and do some Silence of the Lamb stuff. But I think this one really captures him well at angles. So as you can see with the lighting, it looks really, really well. As far as arms go, we have your standard Star Wars robed articulation. As you can see, you can cross here to make a wide V. Well, slightly acute one. And it rotates out. There is bicep swivel. There is also a rotating swivel here at the arm as well. There is a small butterfly joint inside that allows you to fold it forward just a bit. There's no ab crunch in terms of just actual ab crunch. It's like Ryu from Street Fighter, where you actually can rotate here at a ball joint. And it has a nice deep cut that allows you to get a little forward and go pretty far back. So you can dodge lightsabers if you want with that. Here we have a section here for his lightsaber, so keep that in mind. I do like the little brown shirt under sleeve this time around. Before it was always like a tannish or a light brown color. This one is a nice color separation of brown. Excuse me. As far as the leg articulation goes, once you fold up the robes, you see it's on a drop down method technique. So it drops down, not actually very far either, but it drops down pretty lightly. You get a little bit of thigh rotation, and you get the nice rotation going forward, and a little, well, actually, you get a lot going back, but there I go being extra. So actually, you get some going back as well, but the problem is you'll end up like that. And I tore mine to piece being a little too strong, trying to extend it a little too far. So let me actually fix this real fast for you guys. That's one thing I like about SHF. It didn't snap in half. But you get a nice leg rotation going forward. Going back will actually cause that, obviously. So you got to be a little careful. The legs are double jointed. Nope, no, I was wrong. The legs are single jointed. So they go back about this far, but there's a single joint there. Not two joints, just one. One nice ball joint. Little bit of wiggle room for rotation at this angle. But that's about it. We have a very nice ankle pivot that rotates all the way out. It's actually back forward as well, too. So just be careful. There's a toe pivot here as well. So I think it's always been a single joint. I'm not even sure. When I get to the other Obi-Wans, I'll check. I like these nice brown boots, though. They're actually a pretty nice addition to adding a little bit more color variation to Obi-Wan, which is very nice. So I'm going to set him back, and we're going to talk about the other accessories that Obi-Wan comes with. Let me just move my light over a little bit. It's a little too close to my face. So here we have the lightsaber when it's not in use. This can actually be used right here. It comes in an in package like that. So that way you are always carrying, you're holding. Next up, we have the head sculpt for yelling. This is pretty much when you're going to tell Anakin that you have the high ground. Like, this is definitely, I have the high ground face. Anakin, don't do it. You're supposed to save the Force. You know, all those jokes that you're probably going to run. Pretty much sure I'm going to do a picture like that as well. So that's pretty cool. That sculpt actually looks very good as well. Next up, we have hands for holding the lightsaber. So you get two like this, where they hold the lightsaber pretty well. And I'm going to get to the lightsaber in a second, so I'm going to put those aside. You have hands for holding the lightsaber when you're holding it with two hands. This is so that you don't constantly have to rotate it in, rotate it out, things like that. You get relaxed palms or open force palms or force push palms, depending on what you're going to do. Oh, I'm sorry. These were the two force push palms. This one is just going to be your standard force pawn. When you are doing like I forgot what it's called. But when he's in his standard form formation, you use these two hands. So that's what these two are for. And then we have the actual lightsaber. This lightsaber is actually pretty nice, but it's standard. We've gotten it a million times. We already know what we're getting. To put this in the hands, I'm going to use the right hand. What you're going to do is you're going to take it off from the bottom of the hilt. Rotate it. Well, not rotate it, but put that on. Pretty much rotate till it slides in. Then you can hold it just fine like this. That's what the other hand's for, so you can actually put it above or below, depending on how you want to do it, or vice versa, anything like that. So it's actually pretty cool. Excuse me. Now, one thing I want to talk about is that this Obi-Wan seems to be smaller than other Obi-Wans, and I'm going to get to that right now. So here we have Jesus Obi-Wan, who actually seems a little bit taller. Then we have Episode 1 Obi-Wan. Actually, let me slide them over slightly. Ever so slightly. And as you can see, he is shorter than the other two. He seems to be technically the biggest. Then he rolls down by Episode 2. He gets a little bit smaller. But this one happens to be the smallest that I can think of from shoulder length. And that's because as you go a little forward, the design slightly changes on them. And I think that's because for him to match Anakin, because Episode 2 Anakin is actually pretty much big, then Episode 3 is scaled down a bit. And this Obi-Wan is meant to go with that. So if you're looking for stuff scale-wise, I'm not sure about the height things, but I know for Episode 3 Anakin, he'll actually work pretty well. So you don't have much to worry about. So we're going to look at the scale of him with other stuff going forward. So I just wanted to touch on that. So we have Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. In this episode, you can actually use for a bunch of other expanded universe stuff. That's kind of why I want Episode 3 one. So if you want to do some expanded universe stuff, it's totally cool. Here he is next to his New Hope counterpart. So you can see his scale is actually kept a little closer to that. And the head does fit. It's a little loose, so some sticky tack would work out if you want to put the old man head on it. Next up, here he is next to Angry Anakin from Episode 3. And like I said, as you can see, their scale actually works a lot better this time around because they scaled him down just a bit. Then we have Darth Maul. And I think this actually works scale-wise together as well. And then I like that Mace was always bigger than them because he was a pretty tall guy, Samuel L. Jackson. So, as you can see here, he is taller than him. Just the look he has in the background. But, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but the way he looked into my camera, and you guys will see it. But yeah, so size-wise, I think they're scaling out pretty fine. If you don't like smaller stuff, that's obviously going to bother you. But if it doesn't bother you, I think that's a nice addition to your collection to have. Here he is with a clone trooper. And as you can see, scale-wise, he actually looks just fine with him. Here he is next to a stormtrooper. This is on the old body, not the Rogue One body. I don't know where my Rogue Ones one are. And they are a bit taller. So even if I put him here on the same side, just so you guys can see a little bigger. So as you can see, Obi-Wan is a little smaller. Next up, we're going to compare him to a Black Series Boba Fett, because Boba Fett is the man. I don't know what I did with my Mayfix one, so I gotta find that. So here he is with a Black Series one. And as you can see with Black Series, I think it scales out actually a little bit well for Boba and the Black Series stuff. Boba looks like a guy in a bunch of armor, never taking it off, so it works out just fine. Now we're going to get into scales with other stuff, but one last thing I want to touch on is the 112 scale model kit of Grievous. And if we like stand him all the way up and not hunch him over, I think Grievous is a good size to fight Obi-Wan. So keep that in mind. I think these actually scale out really well if you have the 112 scale model kit. Now with stuff like Mythic Legions or Marvel Legends, we're going to get started. So here he is next to a Orc from Mythic Legions. Again, if you like spacefaring creatures, I think that works out just fine. Here he is with a Marvel Legends Genus Vel. So as you can see, he is way too tiny for Legends. Here he is with a Mezco, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be way too tiny. And indeed, I was right. Here he is with a Marvel Legends. Actually, I already did Marvel Legends. Nope. Here he is with a Articulated Icons Ninja. And as we know, the AI stuff is really close to import scale. So they're really nice. Here he is with a 1000 toy synthetic human. These also look like they'll do well in the Star Wars universe. Voila. And last but not least, with an SHF Kamen Rider to show scale-wise with another SHF line. And voila. All in all, I like this Obi-Wan. I think it'll work best with my Anakin and a bunch of other pre-original trilogy stuff, as well as a little bit in the 4. So if you want to do some kit bashing and stuff like that, I think articulation-wise, this one will probably work well for you, as well as the Episode 2 one. Jesus Obi-Wan might offer you some balance in between all of that, size-wise. But articulation-wise, I think this one has the best chances of holding out for poses, and I'll show that in pictures and stuff like that. Or if you're just a prequel fan, you know, enjoy it. But in the meantime, guys, hope you found it informative. Hope you enjoyed. But most of all, hope you guys do good, be good, drink your water. Later.